everybody. Welcome back to The Living Novel, a new genre of literature that we've been launching right out of here in LTV in East Hampton, Wainscott, New York. And it's a new genre of literature, and you'll be understanding what that means as we go along. But right now, if you have been flipping through the channels and you actually land on me, and you look and say, what is this crazy guy doing? You are welcome to log into right now. It's a working title like we would do in the film industry. You work with something under a working title. So in this case, go to the BaysideExperiment.com. TheBaysideExperiment.com. And we are temporarily, when these broadcasts are going to be airing, we're pulling down a landing page that says something cool is coming. And you can actually come in to see the site while this is airing, and go through some things with me that I'm going to show you how the living novel works and my idea of what I think I'm going to do. But also, you're welcome to go to any of our social media, Instagram, Facebook. If you went to Facebook, Gregg P. Sullivan, Gregg, middle initial P for Philip, and then Sullivan. I don't use the P to be pretentious. I do it because if you Googled Gregg Sullivan, there's a whole bunch of them. But if you Google Gregg P. Sullivan, you'll see pages of stuff about me and the film industry and things I've done in the past, and plays and theater I've worked on, and different things I've done. So, and you'd also see Bayside Live TV and Montauk Live TV, and my little gift to these towns, donating web TV channels to different towns, and videos that we've done to chronicle the life and times of these different towns, live streaming the St. Patrick's Day Parade from Montauk over Montauk Live TV, live streaming the Bayside St. Patrick's Day Parade, which actually I'm doing tomorrow. So that would be over BaysideLiveTV.com. But you could see a little network of neighborhood live TV channels. But anyway, right now, if you logged into Facebook, Gregg P. Sullivan, you're going to see a kind of a poster, which is fun. During, I enjoyed my life in New York City, and during my CBS years, I enjoyed the nightlife in New York, and over the years, I would collect and keep all of the. I didn't drink a lot, so I would get these free drink tickets, and I would just keep them from Studio 54 and Heartbreak and Limelight and Area and all these great clubs. And then I get these VIP passes, and I would just keep them. And then I had this poster with Natasha Kinski. Remember her from the late '80s? It was kind of trendy with Abaddon, photographing her with that snake around her. So there's a picture of Natasha Kinski that I had with Abaddon signing it. And I said, something, what am I going to do with this stuff? So I put it in I put it the poster in a frame, and I took every free VIP, free drink ticket, VIP ticket, free admission, VIP, all that stuff from every club that I went to, and I just sprayed them all over the Natasha Kinski poster, and I framed it. And it's in my kitchen, but it's also on top of my Facebook page. Yes. Oh God, Jody, can you listen? I love this guy, Jody Gambino. First of all, you got to love his name, Jody Gambino. It's like rhythmic, but anyway, Jody, cut to you, Jody. Just we love this guy. Jody is one of the most interesting guys out here. He's doing so much stuff. He's you see him on LTV all the time, doing interviews, playing music, reciting poetry, covering things like a news reporter with like the Montauk skating competition. Jody's like everywhere. I love people that are everywhere. So Jody's here, and he's here with me. So can you cut to you? Okay,
we'll
so he's
try
going
to hold it up.
Cool. So, I gotta love this guy. So that's the poster that I'm talking about, and it was pretty famous, and I don't know how much it's worth, signed by Abaddon or whatever, but anyway, you'll see that on the banner of my Facebook page, Gregg P. Sullivan Facebook page. But then right below that, you see a couple of things that I've created. The most recent one, it's in French. It's I get to practice speaking my French a little bit. Not very good at it, so it's a little AI enhanced to help me with my French. But at the same time, there's a post, and it says, being launched where I have some heritage and history, this new genre of literature, the living novel, which I have patented, processed, patented, copyrighted, trademarked, because it's exciting thing for me to be doing as one of my most favorite projects of anything I've ever done. The living novel, new genre of literature. So in this first post, it's being launched where I have some heritage and history. This new genre of literature, the living novel, is introduced to play a role in the sweeping changes that are rapidly taking place in our society and is a tool to facilitate conscious manifestation. I used to say conscious evolution, but conscious manifestation. We are changing radically as a species. I've even talked about how we are changing the name. We actually have changed the name of our species. We are no longer Homo sapiens. You may still think you're a Homo sapien, but not anymore. Science and a lot of theologists have, and at the Bard Omega conference over a number of years, I attended the Omega conference. They talked about how we are changing as a species, and I don't want to repeat myself too much because I have said this in other ones. But in the past we stood up and we became Homo erectus, the human that is standing up, walking around, bipedal, whatever. And then we started recognizing, but this human that is standing up is looking at things and thinking and using its brains and figuring out how to work with this and how to create tools, and then soon made fire. I love that thing with Tom Hanks in Castaway. I have made fire, but we made fire, and suddenly, what a big thing that was. Suddenly we had fire, but then we started using our brains and creating things and exploring things and investigating them and doing experiments. And the experimental process, the scientific process of experimenting came into play. So we recognized that, hey, this is a new species that is thinking and using its brains. So sapien, brain, as thinking. So Homo sapien, thinking human. But then recently, I'm talking about the last 80 years, but science came to interesting new conclusions about who and what we are, as we were able to create tools to do experiments and find out that, well, we are this thing that we're made of and we can touch and see and look at other people and look at books and things. And so what is this stuff made out of? And these materials, and we recognize that, these materials, these things are, that we have the elements that make up things, and then we have in the elements those are made out of molecules, and then there's the elemental table, we're looking at all these different elements, and then we have the molecules, and then we started recognizing, hey, molecules are these groupings of these little energy masses, and we looked deeper into those, and they were atoms, and then atoms have a nucleus and protons and electrons moving around, and we said, whoa, wait a minute, we're actually made of stuff that is filled with air. It's just energy, and it's got space in between it, and nothing is actually down at its smallest root is actually not solid. It's just an energy mass. But then we came up with additional devices that could measure energies, and started looking and realizing even those atomic particles have subatomic particles, and now you're down to quarks and neutrinos and smaller things that can't even be seen, but they can be measured and recognized that they exist because they kind of leave a trail. And then a fascinating thing happened. It was recognized that when we were measuring these subatomic particles and their activity level, that when we observed them, we, the observer, observed them, the particles became more stimulated. And then when we looked away, they became more dominant. Stimulated, dominant. It's like, wow, look at that. So the observed has an influence over what it is observing. The observed has a influence in the creation and activity of the observed, and the observed is attached to the observer, and that we are playing a much bigger role in the creation of everything we see, touch, know, experience than we ever really imagined, that we are far more powerful as creators than we ever really know. So with that, we started recognizing that as we look at something and it makes something happen and we look away, we're part of that process of the creation of it. I said something controversial recently to somebody. I said, I think that we're recognizing that there is actually no such thing as discovery. Sounds controversial, but actually, I don't think we discover anything. I think that we are starting to recognize that we exist at that moment of creation. And that, as Einstein wanted to know, the mind of God, the mind of God is it's like AI looking all over the place, getting all this information from all over. Oh, here's this information, here's that information, here's that information. Put these all together, it creates this. And then we reside at that moment when all this information comes together and say, hey, wait a second, DNA. Maybe it's like DNA. And at that moment, DNA is created. And then we look out into the stars and we go, oh my God, look at out there. And then we think maybe there's something farther. And every time we look for something farther, we find it. We didn't see how far the universe went, and we didn't see beyond how oh, hold on just a second. Oh my God. Oh my God. Hello.
It's 222.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I thought I told you never to call me here. I know it's my only number, but get it? Oh God. I know. 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 What was this, like a Mike Nichols, Elaine May gag or something? So I no, they were very clever. Elaine May, Mike Nichols, very clever, but they weren't brilliant. You know who was brilliant? George Burns, Gracie Allen. George Burns comes home and he sees this huge bouquet of flowers on the kitchen table. And he says, Gracie, oh, how beautiful. Where'd you get the flowers? And she says, she says, oh, George, you're so forgetful. Don't you remember this morning I told you I was going to visit Aunt Agnes in the hospital and you told me to take her flowers. So I did. No, that's funny. That's brilliant. The other day I shot an elephant in my pajamas. How he got in my pajamas, I don't know. That stuff is brilliant. I love that kind of humor. But listen, I can't really talk to you now, but God bless you. I love you more than anything. You're so dear to my heart. Okay, goodbye. Good luck. Talk to you later. Okay, goodbye. Sorry about that. So anyway, so we are recognizing that I think we're all coming to the conclusion that we actually are living or existing at that moment of creation when all kinds of information comes together and we put it together and we decide, our imagination looks at something and suddenly we create it. And even DNA and everything else that you could say, oh, we discovered it. No, I think that we actually were creating these answers to things. Oh, I got to turn this off. Hello. 222. I know. Look, you don't actually blow on it. That's just a figure of speech. No, oh, no. Oh, okay. Look, I gotta go. I can't talk to you now. Ask AI. That'd be a funny question. So a lot of you who might have remembered Saturday Night Live and Chevy Chase when he was doing the news and so stuff. So anyway, the so living at that moment of creation, I think that's where we are. And I think again that every time we go to look at something to see if something is farther, we're actually help creating it. It's a difficult concept to get, and a lot of people go, "Greg, I don't think so." But and then the hard one to come up with is oh yeah, well what about when dinosaur bones? How do you explain those? When archaeologists are looking and digging and they see dinosaur bones, did they not exist before that person dug there? But if you've ever looked, if you've ever watched like the Discovery Channel or something, when those archaeologists are digging for bones and they're taking their brush and they're going back and forth, and suddenly a bone appears. The observed is never unaffected by the observer, and the observer is part of the creation of the observed. It's just the way it is. Okay, you heard it here first. Anyway, so going back to this, so the living novel, and if you've logged on to the BaysideExperiment.com, again, we take down the homepage when the landing page when this show is on. So if you've been flipping through the stations and you come across us, you look at the Bayside Experiment, but also you can look at my Facebook page, and everything in our lives is changing right down to gender identifications. Everything is changing, and part of our society, what the living novel is here to do is to help facilitate conscious manifestation, helping us think of, okay, what do we want to create with our thought process, and the recognition that it is time to evolve. We as a species need to evolve to the next level, and we actually have, and there's a new recognition of that, the new name for it. I'll get back to that later. It's like a teaser, right? Anyway, everything in our lives is changing right down to gender identification, no matter which way you look, whether it be on a small scale or global, political or romantic. The rules and accepted protocols are changing, often in ways that are shocking and objectionable, and even more often in ways imperceptible and just adopted without notice. So this living novel and at the Bayside Experiment, it's focused on self-examination. I think that focused self-examination on both the personal and societal level is it would not be a bad thing for all of us to do right now. And then the living novel is a process born of those recognitions with the goal of lending a helping hand in our own self-guidance. Just an experiment, just something I'm doing. So you're welcome to log into that. If you looked at my Facebook page and that first post, again, I'm talking a little bit French there, but it also has a link to the BaysideExperiment.com if you couldn't find it yourself. Anyway, so please log in and see that. We're going to talk about some of the things that are in there, and some of the things that we try to do and what we look at. There's fun things like linguistic collectibles. There's different parts of this book process, this living novel. There's a past, which is just my own autobiographical story about my working at CBS for years and working out in Hollywood and working in the film industry and talking about all the movie actors I've worked with and directors and producers and helping produce movies and running film studios and financing films and then there's that past, and then there is this blog, which is just things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. This is stuff that everybody can do. It's almost like a template. You could download this and you could do this yourself. Put your past on it, put a blog in there that you can talk about your present and things that you're doing. I go to a lot of Broadway theater and a little investing, so I have some stories and some reviews of plays and musicals. Just recently, Cabaret, the new Cabaret is so gorgeous. What they've done with the sets, what they've done to bring it back, it's a huge hit. And I was just at one of the rehearsals before the opening of it, and it was so exciting. And what they've done with the stage and the way they've created around the stage, they've created an old-fashioned cabaret with small tables that you're eating food at before the show starts, and it's really exciting. And it's cabaret. What do you got? You got West Side Story. You got, some of the classics. You got Chorus Line. Some of the Chicago. Some of the greatest musicals that will always come back and do well. Well, Cabaret is back, and it is really wonderful to see. I also just saw Hell's Kitchen. I wasn't. Jody, are you like Alicia Keys?
I love Alicia Keys.
I
She's
didn't
great.
know. I didn't. I liked Alicia Keys. I know the songs, but I wasn't like a big fan. I am such a fan of Alicia Keys now. But Hell's Kitchen is this play about Alicia Keys with all of her music.
Oh,
It
really?
is so good, and the talent in it and the singing, Jody. It's like I'm actually, yeah, I try to stay a little reserved in the theater. I am clapping. I'm going,
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
They're hitting these high notes and holding them for like 30, 45 seconds. And like, holy shit, this is incredible.
Right.
And then I couldn't even decide. I mean, the different performers that came out and sang, it was like, who's upstaging who here? Everyone
Right.
is better than the other. And it's really, if you haven't seen in Hell's Kitchen, go to it. Yeah, you wait. Cabaret is going to open soon. Again, I was at the rehearsals and the preview, but it's opening soon. And also, but Hell's Kitchen is open, and it is so worth whatever you pay to go see it. It's really, really good. So anyway, so in my blog, I post stories about that with pictures of going backstage and at the talkbacks afterwards with the actors and actresses. I went to the one and Alicia Keys was there, talking about what it was like having this story done about her life, and boy, did I become a fan of hers. She's great. Anyway, so in this living novel and in the Bayside Experiment, you've got the past. It's kind of an autobiographical 13 chapters, and you got this blog, everything I do on a day-to-day basis, and then you've got this other section I called that went out with the Mayan calendar, and that's about things that we look at and say, something, we don't need to keep doing this anymore. This is actually like not cool anymore. It's a mistake, and we can do better. So it has all kinds of exercises in there about how things could be better, and also things can just be fun, make you even a more interesting person at parties with great conversational things like linguistic collectibles, palindromes, and oxymorons, and if if you spell I love this is one of my favorite ones. A man, it's like a Hollywood script. A man.
A plan.
Oh, you got it.
A
You know it.
canal.
Panama.
Panama. I know that one.
That's one of the best. I love that one. So if you write down a man, a plan, a canal, Panama, and you look at it for a little while, you recognize that the words say the exact same thing backwards. There's a name no one man. So
I don't know that one.
but you know other ones.
No, race car.
Race car.
Yeah.
Race car spelled backwards spells race car. I'm driving on the highway, and on the back of one of these Toyota vans, it says a Toyota. And I'm looking at it, it's like a Toyota, a Toyota. And I realized it spells the same thing backwards.
Yeah.
But that's, the sick mind of a degenerate scholar. I'm looking at the stuff and I recognize it spells the same thing backwards.
I'm going close to Panama soon.
Are you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Going to Limon in Costa Rica. Right on the border, kind of.
Tell me you're going to go surfing in Costa Rica.
I hope so.
Oh, the surf in Costa Rica is incredible. It's great, and I've surfed a lot of different places around the world. I went to Phuket but then in the best place, I went to Bali, and I surfed a legendary wave called Uluwatu.
Okay.
And Uluwatu was. Jody, there's a place where, and it's so legendary because the coral reef just comes straight across, and then and somehow naturally it makes this kind of 90-degree turn and then turns back. So you got this. So when a wave hits it, it makes like this instant curl.
Right.
So if you sit right in that one little pocket, one paddle, and boom, you're in a curl.
That's cool.
And it's like, holy shit! No wonder everybody goes there. So I actually. With a group of guys from Australia, and in Bali, they have if you go into the bars, they'd have like a margarita, 1,000 rupiah. You got Bloody Mary, 1,000 rupiah. That's their currency is rupiah. You have so you have all these drinks, 1,000 rupiah, and then they have sport drink. 8,000 rupiah. So I'm like,
what's the
sport drink? Yeah. What's a sport drink, man? What's that? Well, it's mushroom juice, and it's just this gray mushroom juice, and you drink it, and it tastes like banana juice. It doesn't taste bad.
Wow.
And then you're on your dirt bike, and you got your board hanging over your side, and you're going, and suddenly you're realizing, I can't feel my hands.
Oh my God, yeah.
But then you go through this like this native tribe has this little village, and the fences are made from cactuses that they weave to keep the cattle, and suddenly you're driving through this town where these people have lived the exact same way for hundreds of years. Right. They had no need to change. So down in the beach, there was like a lava flow that had these big stones in it. And at some point, the stones became dislodged. So the men would go out on the coral reef with these spears and poke these octopus, grab them, bring them back to the women, who would put them in these tubs that are now made in the lava flow and get the ink from the octopus. And they would dye their clothes with the ink of octopus. And it's like, wow, I can't believe that I'm here in this primitive place. Right. And but the surf was just outstanding. I went for a week. I stayed a month. I couldn't stop. Awesome. I could not leave. I was like, no, I'm not going to be back here for a long time. And this wave is just too incredible. And the tubes last a long time. So cool. There's a couple of times I got so far back into it. It's like the sound. That's the only place I've heard that sound. It's like this.
Yeah, I've never heard the.
And it's like a pressure. It's like,
right.
And you're like, holy! I'm like talking to God right now in this wave.
Yeah.
It was really, I just, you can't forget it once you get in there. And then when it closes up, it like shoots you out like a cannon, and you're up in the air, and everybody makes it to the end because the hands are waving up, and you got your leash holding the boards flying up in the air.
Crazy.
But I went for a week, stayed a month. It was so good. Love to go back to there. So I've surfed some good waves around the world, but
cool.
So you're going to Costa Rica. Very cool.
Yeah. First time anywhere tropical.
Yeah.
Never been anywhere tropical.
So. Wow. Well, boy, have a good time.
Yeah.
So, and you have your own board, but you're not taking that.
I'm not taking mine. No.
Yeah, I bought a board when I was over there, and then brought it back, and it's like a cherished position in my apartment. Nice. It's up on the wall.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a great memory. But and Bobby's leaving. He's going down to I forgot where he said he was going.
I think he's going to Spain.
Oh yeah, he's going to Spain.
Yeah,
he's going to Spain for like a week. You've all seen and heard about Bobby. We love Bobby. A really cool guy, just down to earth, natural. It's almost as good as Jody. But no, these guys are great. And Bobby, he's just another a natural force of nature, this guy, and I love that we're getting to work together. So yeah, he's going to Spain for a couple of days, a
Yeah,
couple of weeks. I think.
it's going with some of the people from the Jazz Fest, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, what a nice way to start off the summer. You guys are going to have one of the best. Like 2024 is a great year for everybody. We went through a
totally.
couple of shit ass years that were just terrible, and the pandemic and
Yeah,
stuff. But we tried to make the most of it while we were there. But now,
yeah. I
this is,
read something that said in 2024, I'm trying to accomplish my goals that I set in 2023 that I had left over from 2022 because 2021 was left over from the pandemic from 2020, which confused me in 2019. Like something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look, it was like a time warp for me. The things that I was
Can you
doing.
believe that was 5 years ago?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of putting everything back, but really 2 years. And I look at stuff that I was and see where I had progressed was like my neighborhood live TV and BaysideLiveTV.com and all this. And I looked at how far I got and the staff I had and the offices I had and
You stopped dead in your tracks.
everything. Boom.
Right.
And I had this intern program at Bayside High School. Well, they stopped that. So it's like,
Because it was the arts, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then everything just stopped. And then you were doing other things. I did this one thing. It was kind of a, you're always looking for silver linings in anything. So in Bayside, they've got this restaurant row. It's wonderful from Northern Boulevard to 35th Avenue. All these great restaurants, and it's always been kind of popular. Anyway, it was Thursday night. It's packed. It's like you think it's the spring break on the college town or something.
Right.
But hundreds of kids and everybody and everybody out there, and it's one of the biggest nights. So during the pandemic, when everything quarantined, when everything was shut down, I had my offices in an apartment there, and I would just go down at 11 o'clock at night, which would have been the busiest time. And I just went down, and I'd walk on the double yellow line with the camera, and I'd just go live all the way to Northern Boulevard and turn around. Not a soul,
No
not
one
a
was
bus.
out.
It
Yeah.
was like a Twilight Zone movie.
Yeah.
It was so crazy. It was like so eerie. And then people would just start tuning in, and then suddenly tuning in. And I went from 2,000 views, and then suddenly got 4,000. And then by like 2 or 3 weeks of doing that, 70,000 people were watching me for that.
Wow.
It was like insane, but it just went viral. I guess nobody else was doing it. And they were saying, "Hey, look at this guy. It's crazy.
Right.
The crazy nut is out there in the middle of the double yellow line." And they kept saying, "You're not going to see this again in your lifetime."
Yeah.
And I'd be walking down the double yellow line. But so I kind of made the use out of it. But it was, but then now I'm still going back and doing things that I realized, oh my God, I had already gotten to this place in 2020 when the thing first started, right? It was January, February 2020.
Yeah.
But yeah, a long time ago.
I mean, we watched it for a while go through Asia and Europe and Italy, and everyone said it was coming, and
wow.
I didn't believe it, and then all of a sudden everything's locked down. When they canceled the NBA, that's when I took it seriously. I was like, oh wow, okay.
There's a congresswoman, Grace Meng, in Queens. She's really wonderful. She's doing a great job. But she's also she's a mother. She's a family woman, but she's also a congresswoman. And I'm always, when I'm videotaping stuff there, I'm always putting her on. And she's like, "Hey, Gregg Sullivan." It's kind of nice. So anyway, I went to her. I said, "Look, this thing that I'm doing is kind of growing. It's kind of blossoming." And she said, "Look, I've got this incubator. And I think your business would be great for the students and to teach them how to grow this business." So there we were going to go through the incubator at Queens College, and with some funding and people helping with business plans. So this is going to be exciting. And I went for the first kind of discussion with everybody. And then when I was going to go for the meeting where we actually going to meet the students and everything, right before I got this call from a woman in her office. And she said, "Mr. Sullivan, we're going to cancel today's thing because," and I was like so disappointed. I was so excited about it. And she said, because one of the people in our office just came back from Hunan, China. I never heard of the place before. And I said, "She came back from where?" Wuhan. Yeah, thank you, Wuhan. And I'd never heard of it before. She said, "Well, okay, it's a big deal." And it was like the first time I heard of anything. She said, "Well, there's this thing, this virus going around, and we're all worried, so we're going to shut down temporarily." And suddenly, boom,
just
everywhere. It was, and that was another place where, your life has got this momentum going on. I mean, how many people out there had some incredible momentum going on in your lives right when that thing happened?
It was almost a blessing in disguise for me, though. There was too much going on.
Yeah.
And, well, now I'm pretty much back to that point. But, yeah.
You got a lot of stuff going on,
Always,
you know.
yeah,
So
always.
you're doing your music, you're doing poetry. I look at your poetry thing. You're interviewing artists and galleries. You're doing. I loved when you did the thing out in Montauk with the skate
Yeah,
contest.
yeah, that was a couple
And-
years ago. I haven't been back actually out there since,
yeah,
but we did two short little films. Like one was the grand opening,
mm,
and one was the skate park contest.
yeah.
I'm not sure which one you saw, but
The skateboard contest.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah, I
was a little
loved it.
more fun, I
That was
think.
fun.
Yeah.
But also, I love that thing that you guys did when you went into the dunes and your friend found that
That
like
I mean, that's great. That's Joel Kelsey, and he's got the metal detector work going,
yeah.
and the foraging and scavenging, and he just finds so much cool shit. It's
But
crazy.
and where he had to go for that,
Right.
it's like over and under and
He
around.
told me where he had to go, and I didn't realize how far out it was.
Yeah.
And if you go at the wrong time, you can't drive back because the tide comes up too high.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we saw some people stuck when we were driving back,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Oh crap," you know.
Wow, that's fine. There's a temple in Bali, Tanalot, and it's the same thing. Low tide, you're out there. High
That's
tide, you
like
got to come back.
Mount Saint Michel in France.
Same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's like it's if you've never seen pictures, Google that.
I think I
Mount
have.
Saint
It's got that
Michel.
big
Yeah,
castle on the base. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, that's
I went
incredible.
there. That place was insane.
What about the guy who? Do you ever think about who's the guy who actually built that
Yeah,
thing?
right.
You know, like, how cool was he, and what was he
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, then did they have a lot of enemies? He must have had a lot of friends.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
a
totally.
lot of money. I wonder how some things like that develop. So, by the way, how are we doing for time? Oh, I got it right
We're
there.
halfway. We're about 30 minutes.
Oh, good.
We got
So,
25 left.
but I love that you're here with me and that we're talking about this. I wanted to make him officially like my guest, but he's here, so Jody's always a guest here. So one of the things that I wanted to do is I've kind of have everybody looking at the living novel, and if you're in there and you see it, there's again you got this 3 seconds. Binge the book, and binge is really about how Hollywood is always like on this binge. 300 films, major feature films, went through my studios over the 10 years I was out there. And in the beginning, I was just giving them space and renting them space. And then pretty soon I was renting them equipment.
So
and then hoping
that's
they could find
30 a
it.
year and 2 a month, pretty much.
Well, yeah.
A little more, but
Well,
yeah.
yeah, and then there would be hiatuses, and then once or twice I went through the strikes. So, but sometimes I had and towards the end there, I had 18 stages, but I also had taken the Ambassador Hotel. I turned that into a film studio for Donald Trump, and that was 1991 to 1995 when everybody liked Donald. It was like, oh, Donald's a
Right.
great.
He was like no, I don't want to say pseudo. He was a celebrity. He was the
Yeah,
most popular
yeah.
kind of playboy type
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was when like Enron and all these big corporations were getting busted for lying and cheating and stuff, and so and we still had this good, honest American businessman. So the Donald, they called him the Donald. He was kind of golden, but he took over the Ambassador Hotel.
When was the last time you talked to him?
8 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
8 years ago, a while ago.
Before all this.
Yeah, oh yeah, way before this, and he was cool. I liked him. Now he's like I don't know what to think about Donald.
Well, I gauge my opinion on Donald Trump by how Howard Stern's opinion on Donald Trump
Yeah?
is, because they were very close.
Yeah.
He would always have him on a show. They'd always interview him.
So what's Howard's take on him?
Howard's take is he's lost it a little. You
Yeah.
know, he's got a little deranged over the years. I think I haven't listened to Howard in a while, but
Yeah.
last time he was running, that's what Howard was saying. Yeah.
Look, I work in the news. All my 10 years at CBS, local news, network news, 60 Minutes, news. It's in your blood. I loved it. It was so exciting. And when you're broadcasting something live or covering an election, and you're in the control rooms, very exciting stuff. And then when you're doing stuff for 60 Minutes, and then it airs, and you realize you created something that you're giving something wonderful to humanity, to our society, with some truth and understanding and knowledge about what's going on. So, during those years with feeling the integrity and loving being part of the news, and my first job was in audio.
Right.
And
You say that. That's
pinning the
say
microphone.
Say it again.
Pinning the microphone on Walter Cronkite. I was like 19, 21 years old, and pinning the microphone on Walter Cronkite. But to have been in that control room for like 2 years before he retired was, I look back and say, oh my God, I love that I touched that level of integrity.
Do you want to know my first film job?
Yeah.
It was delivering a treadmill for Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was his body double for
Really?
because I was the same height as him on
Yeah.
set. So they made me wear his clothes and
Yeah.
walk down the stairs, and then got to toss a Playboy magazine to a little kid,
Yeah.
and they got a shot, like kind of like a over the shoulder shot, but of my legs,
Yeah.
because once it was 8 o'clock, he was off set.
Yeah.
He was an older man, so he didn't work too late.
He's just one of the most interesting actors but he actually comes from Bayside.
He does, yeah.
He actually comes from Bayside and Flushing, and then I've actually passed where he grows up. His mom was still living there, and you wondered like how did he get that kind of quirky speech pattern?
Yeah.
You know,
Uh,
so you just wondered how did he get that kind of quirky speech pattern. But very interesting guy, and something I liked about him, he helped a lot of people get film financing because he would lend his name to it. And
Okay.
when you got an actor's name attached to you, it helps the financing flow. So he did that to help a lot of people. So we love Chris Walken, very cool guy, but really interesting character. But what was I saying before that? We were going.
Well, you're
with,
saying that was your first job, Walter Cronkite.
Oh yeah, with the news. Oh, so big long circle. Sometimes you go way out there and you got to pull it back. And so with Trump, when Trump came out with fake news, I was incensed. Oh, shut up, Trump.
Yeah.
Fake news. Oh, shut up. You don't like what they're saying. And then I was like, something. He was right.
Well, now there's even more. Now I feel like people are putting fake news out on purpose.
Yeah.
Like you could have an AI write a whole thing, and
yeah,
you're not even attached to it in that sense.
Yeah. Well, so that the fake news, so I was incensed by it at first, but then I realized it. But now and then everything was so much spin, no matter which way you go. I still think that the network news they still kind of stay pretty safe, but all the other shows and all the other networks had spin and everything. And I'd worked with Roger Ailes when I was really young. Again, beginning of CBS. Roger Ailes produced the Stanley Siegel show on CBS, but then he was also Nixon's campaign manager. He did a lot of different things and press manager, but but then he went into politics and other broadcasting. Then he started Fox. He actually started the America's Talking cable network. That one of our guys, I love him. He does a show out of, oh my God, I got his name. And he was at the Academy Awards thing that night. But he does a show here at LTV.
Oh, is it William McCuddy?
Yeah, Bill. So I love Bill's so great. So Bill and I had actually mentioned
Bill
this
worked
before.
for Fox for years.
Yeah, and he got his start because he auditioned for America's Talking at the same time I did. They gave this contest so someone can, nobody can have see if we can win. And Bill won over me. But something, he deserved. He's a really talented guy. I love Bill. And he was at the Academy Awards party we went to.
Yeah, I think he helped put it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was hosting, he was emceeing.
Yeah.
My mom won that night.
Oh, did she?
She got the most right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm pretty good at movie trivia, but I wasn't answering too many. So that's cool.
Yeah. And second year in a row she won.
Yeah, Jason answered a bunch of questions right.
He did.
He did pretty good too.
Yeah.
So well, anyway, so Trump now and all the things that you listen to and what's real, what's not real, but now there's a movement. And I'm recognizing and I'm liking it. I've seen a couple of people on Instagram that are saying, "Oh, we're going to start a news thing, and it's going to be just the facts. It's no spin anymore." And Dr. Phil, he's jumping on a bandwagon. So that pendulum is swinging back to people saying, "I don't want any more of this spin. Just give me the facts. I'll make up my own mind." And everybody's so sick of being manipulated and be tossed and turned in this way. And then also joining a group of other people. It's like a gang philosophies that are happening out there now. And mass mobs, if you're attaching yourself to them. I think we're sick of that stuff. And we just want to get back. Oh, we'll make our own decisions. Just give us the facts. Anyway, so Trump, fake news, pendulum moving back. And here we are. So the living novel, I want you to log into it. And one of my guests, I'm going to do a little bit more. I'm doing a double today. One of my guests is AI, and we're going to talk to AI a little bit. So with some of the time that we have left, Jody, I'm going to try this for the first time.
Sure,
Here's one of our first times. So I have all these questions for AI that I've been wanting to ask, and so those people who are afraid of AI or not knowing how to use it, there's a couple of different things. I think I'll ask AI that first. What's this?
Should humans be afraid of AI?
Yeah. see what it says. Good question. Hey AI. First, I'd like you to answer my questions with audio, with speaking. But the question that we want to ask you is: should humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, should we be afraid of AI? Oh, we're stumping AI. So it's kind of
It's typing.
yeah. So, and we would, Jody and I were doing things before, and I asked it to speak its answers, and it did. It said, well, I can't speak answers to you. It's like, but you are. Okay.
It seems the essence of your question is about whether humans should be afraid of artificial intelligence, AI. This is a complex and nuanced issue that depends on several factors, including the type of AI in question and how it's implemented and controlled.
True.
AI can be broadly classified into two categories: narrow AI, which is designed to perform a narrow task, like facial recognition, internet searches, or driving a car, and general AI, which would have the ability to understand, learn, and apply its intelligence broadly akin to human intelligence. As of now, what we primarily have and utilize in various sectors is narrow AI, whereas general AI remains a theoretical concept.
Huh.
The reasons for concern primarily revolve around several areas. 1. Ethics and bias asterisk. AI systems can perpetuate and even exacerbate biases present in their training data, leading to unfair or prejudiced outcomes. 2. Privacy asterisk. As AI systems require vast amounts of data to function effectively, this could potentially infringe on individual privacy. 3. Job displacement asterisk. Automation and AI could lead to significant shifts in the workforce, potentially displacing workers in various industries. 4. Security asterisk. As with any technology, there's the potential for misuse of AI in malicious ways, such as developing autonomous weapon systems or in cyber attacks.
Oh, jeez.
5. Control and accountability asterisk. As AI systems become more complex, ensuring they act in ways that are beneficial to humanity and figuring out how to rectify situations when they don't becomes more challenging. 6. Existential risk asterisk. In the
Wow.
long term, if general AI is developed, there is a concern about whether such entities might act in ways that are not aligned with human interests, intentionally or accidentally causing harm. However, it's also important to recognize the tremendous benefits AI brings and can bring in the future. These include driving innovations in healthcare, education, environmental protection, science, and many other sectors. The key is in managing the development and application of AI in a way that maximizes its benefits while minimizing risks. This involves thoughtful regulation, ongoing ethical considerations, public and private sector cooperation, and international dialogue. So, should humans be afraid of AI? The nuanced answer is that while it's important to approach AI with a healthy degree of caution and awareness of potential risks, fear alone is not productive. A proactive, informed, and cautious approach, aiming to ensure the ethical development and use of AI, would be more beneficial. This includes engaging with AI's development ethically and responsibly to steer its impact positively for humanity.
So the robots have won.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the robots have won. But Jody, great question. Look what we just got from
Yeah, that
AI.
was a lot of information. I mean, I had no idea there was narrow AI and general AI,
Yeah.
which makes a lot of sense because everyone's focusing on search engines and how
Yeah.
to produce pictures, and they're afraid of this thing taking over and knowing everything. But it's saying that that's not even possible yet.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to make sure, like I was, I really was, I loved that I was in the front of the internet working at a secret lab. Spielberg and Lucas funded the Entertainment Technology Center at the University of Southern California. It was developing internet technology for film
E.T.
industries. Yeah, yep. So I love that I was part of that project and developing the internet when I got in. Boy, I'm dating my gray hairs with this, but the baud modems, the modem bauds was like 14 baud and then 28 baud, and they were so slow, but you couldn't even do photographs or graphics yet. It was still just text. And then I was there while it was being developed, and then Java got developed, and pictures could change from one picture to the next. And once they started doing that, they realized we could do that fast. You got a movie going on. So I love that I was in the beginning of that. It's so inspirational. I mean, you really were so excited. It's like, oh my God, this is huge. So to be an AI, I wanted to make sure that I was right at the front of it. So the first AI that came out was pretty basic, and it did answer questions. And it was almost like Siri. It just answered some questions, but it didn't go into.
I feel like we've had forms of AI that we don't really acknowledge, like that, like Siri.
Yeah.
Like little things here and there, and then all of a sudden they rolled out like all these new AI products. But what do you think of like virtual reality? Do you ever? Because I know you want to be on the forefront of AI. I want to be on the forefront of virtual reality.
Look, okay, so I happen to have had a little experience with that when the movie industry started looking at it and started putting parts of things on people's bodies to do motion capture, full motion capture.
For like
So I remember when they were first doing full motion capture, and then when Disney started looking, saying, okay, what about facial expressions? What registers different expression? One eyebrow up, questionable. Two eyebrows up, surprised. It's like little things that registered, and then emojis came out of there. And then taking sets. We started working. Part of my background is the location industry, and working with film locations. And we started recognizing that, something, you can now digitize with these cameras. You can walk through a location and digitize it, and then put your actors in it. So now that started to go into virtual reality. And to answer your question, Jody, I still don't want to feel that vulnerable.
Have you tried it?
I did, and I put on the glasses, and I was like, oh, and then this, you're touching things. It's like, look at it, move this over. It's like, wow, look at that.
Walk into your refrigerator.
Yeah. But then the vulnerability of knowing that real reality is there, and I'm looking at these things, and I'm in a different reality. It's virtual, but I don't like the thought of my being vulnerable, that someone could walk in the room, and I guess too many mafia movies.
Yeah, they could stab you. And
the mafia movies.
You're at McDonald's in Ohio.
And the guy's getting a shave, and he's sitting back in the barbershop, and the guy comes up, slits his throat. So AI not AI, virtual reality scares me a little bit like that. But I did love the traveling and walking in it, and it helped me a little bit. I haven't gone virtual surfing yet, but
have you done? I did something similar. I played a video game, and in one part you surf in it. But I watched the Jurassic Park simulation movie.
Yeah.
That was worth it. That was so cool. Yeah, it's halfway between like an installation and a video game and a movie. I didn't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
But you're just in the Jurassic Park world and doing a little tour on one of the Jeeps.
You gotta love that. I mean, so you are able to experience other things, and firstly, to be able to experience. But I know so many directors that were jumping over and directing things specifically for virtual reality. So you're directing for virtual reality, and the different ways you have to think for the movement. And you're taking your audience now. Your audience isn't viewing it anymore. You're bringing your audience into it. How long are we doing for time?
We got 10 more minutes.
Okay, great. So I know a whole bunch of directors that jumped over to directing in virtual reality, but there's still not the venues to play it back yet. So you're not making so getting investment money if you want to direct or produce in virtual reality, it's hard to get funding for it because
it's so far-fetched.
There's no return. There's no return on there's no ROI.
Jurassic Park was great, but some of the graphics were not.
Yeah,
you could tell.
Yeah,
I'm watching a video game right now.
Yeah, but you did the surfing. You got to surf.
Well, that was that's a game they have over at Clubhouse actually.
Yeah,
where it's like a racing game. So you're in a little toboggan, and you're going through this world as a penguin, I believe.
Yeah,
and you're racing other people, but it is intense. Yeah. It is really intense.
Yeah, and you get to be a penguin.
Yeah, there's one scene where there's this giant whirlpool.
Yeah,
and you go in the middle of this lake and. You just start going around and going around and going around and you get sucked down.
Yeah.
It's intense.
That's gonna be fun. One of the virtual reality things that I did at
another rabbits, not penguins, rabbits.
Rabbits.
Yes.
Rabbits. So rabbits. I did one where you were we've seen we've seen like Instagram posts of people doing daredevil things and standing on ledges, way
Right.
high up on buildings, and you're like, oh my God, really, this guy's doing it? Or I saw the one woman, she's on top of this pole that is like miles up into the air, just on this pole, and it's for real.
Well,
But
in one virtual reality, I was in a city
yeah,
and I fell off the sidewalk to like a part that they didn't code or something, and I fell far, and you could feel it in your stomach. It
that
feels like you're on a roller
Yep.
coaster.
So that was so maybe we've seen the same thing because I had that. So I did the thing where now you're out on this building
This
and you.
was Laurie Anderson's at Guildhall.
Oh, really? And I love
Yeah,
Lori. I know her from Soho
yeah,
when she
yeah,
was like really early days when she was going out with Lou Reed. She was like
yeah,
Lou
yeah,
Reed's boyfriend, girlfriend,
yeah,
rather,
yeah.
and she was so
They got
cruel.
married.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and she did this thing where she would go down the stairs. She would make rhythms and make music and she'd go down these stairs, boom, 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 boom. The
yeah,
stairs in
yeah.
her loft, boom, 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 boom,
I
boom,
saw
boom,
her
boom, boom.
live at Guildhall a few years ago, and
Yeah,
she plays the electric violin,
yeah.
and she has all these samples on an iPad, and then she reads poetry over it.
She's brilliant.
It's a show, yeah.
She's
It's
brilliant.
really good.
If anybody's going to go out with Lou Reed, it's got to have something going on.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
right. So, well, I did the thing where you were in the building and you looked down and, like you said, you felt your stomach going.
Right oh, please try again.
you
Sorry.
can't learn any more about virtual reality now. Hey, I told you so.
I Thank you. I So look at this. Okay, so but I felt that thing. It was like, oh my God, your
Yeah.
stomach was like, ooh, you really felt it. And then you realize, so what then of our real bodies? Will we be able to? Will immortality mean they'll be able to keep our brains going and our thoughts going, but we won't need our bodies, but we'll still be us
Huh.
experiencing it?
Interesting.
So that's an interesting, yeah. So where do we go with? We know that we're going to live to be 100, 120 now, and medicine's doing great. We're in a great time. We're eating healthier things. We're working out longer. We're staying younger for longer periods of time. I'm shooting for 110. We'll see how I do. But
Yeah.
when my grandfather lived to be 100, we got
Yeah.
longevity in the family. But so I'd like to stick around as long as possible. But then what if my consciousness can be captured in some sort of, now you've got things that are recognizing with quantum AI. I've been doing a lot of studying on quantum AI and looking what Elon Musk is doing and everything. And also in this short time, we don't have, it's so much fun. You can go through a lot of topics really fast here. But if anybody wants to turn their millions of dollars into billions, billionaires are being made right now. There is what's called a wealth window. Okay. Hey, thank you. You're so good. But oh my God.
The concept of translating
Should we be afraid of
questions.
AI when it's listening to us and doing things we didn't even know? But there's this wealth window happening right now and you're never going to see this in your lifetime, even bigger than the Industrial Revolution and what that did for guys like Carnegie and for Rockefellers and all these J.P. Morgan and that era of incredible wealth building. You are in that window right now of the most incredible wealth building opportunities, because with quantum AI and then what's happening and how that's changing, and you look at, I call them the three musketeers. You got Elon Musk, you get Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett, and those guys and what they've done with quantum AI and their investment strategies that are guaranteeing what they're doing. With quantum AI is what Ford did with the automobile, making it accessible to the masses where everybody at every level can be making money. So you could go in for $250 and wind up with a couple of 100,000 within a year. So looking at that, there's also for people who are into investing. Okay, so now we're going to talk. We're going to talk investing in the last few minutes. So those of you who stayed long enough, you now are going to get a great tip. Blackstone, one of the biggest $9 trillion Blackstone, the SEC just okayed their FTK Bitcoin. That is huge. And then you've got three other Bitcoins. It's called a convergence of the three other big Bitcoins. Experience, I won't go into all of those names for you now, but there's a convergence of three of the big standard Bitcoin guys converging into one. That's going to take them from being like a nation of their own to being a global superpower. It's a metaphor, but it's like a superpower in Bitcoin. So the convergence of the three of those, and then Blackstone and what it's doing with its announcement and with the SEC authorizing and okaying its Bitcoin, with the three musketeers doing their quantum AI, and then for those of you who who know, April 24th is a huge day. There's going to be a halving. A halving, it's kind of like when a stock would split. In the past, you'd have a stock, and then the stock would split, and then you'd have twice as much, and then those would raise in value, and you became, so there's going to be a halving. It's the fourth time. It's the fourth time that there's going to be a halving of Bitcoins, and when that happens, those people that are in now are going to get twice as wealthy by April 24th and 25th. So you heard it here first. I don't know if this is even going to air in time. I don't know when this is going to air.
We'll get it on before that.
So if you stayed on long enough, you just got some great tips about investing and how to turn your millions of dollars into billions. I was kind of happy with the amount of money I've made in my life, and I thought, well, I'll just coast for now. But I just went bullish and went in because it's too exciting to not be and to live here now and not jump into this wealth building window, which is not going to be that long, because when it comes around June, July, August, you'll be the second and third round. So you want to get in there now. But anyway, but we've
got about a minute or two left.
So this is fun. There's all kinds of stuff that I always want to cover. I didn't cover enough about the living novel, and I have this question. Jody was cool. He has this music stand that I could put this book on that had my questions for AI. So we're going to go back and ask AI some more questions in our next episode. Do we call them episodes? What do we call these podcasts?
Episodes. Yeah.
So, and I love what Ellen did for the little graphic with the typing in the living novel.
Oh yeah. So that was actually Zach Minskoff, one of our techs here. Yeah.
I love it. So I was so pleased with it when it came up. So please, everybody, be encouraged to log on to the BaysideExperiment.com. The BaysideExperiment.com. If you're viewing this, it's online right now. And then we shut it off. We put up a landing page so you can't go into it at other times, but only when this broadcast, this webcast is on. So log on to the BaysideExperiment.com. Explore and investigate it, have fun with it, contribute to it, play around with it, make it part of your own life, but it is a tool for conscious evolution. Time to evolve. It gives us these opportunities, and I'll go back in the next episode and talk more about that one out with the Mayan calendar and the things that you can do in there to improve the quality of your life. We're here to help improve the quality of your life, just like Jody's here to improve the quality of this broadcast and make sure it goes over well. So, and he'll put the camera back on you for a second. Thank you so much. I love that you're here. I think you're one of the coolest guys I met out here, and you're doing great stuff. So thank you for helping me with this and doing the podcast. And Jody Gambino. Great name. Rolls off your tongue like a dance step. So anyway, Jody Gambino is here. I want to thank him. I want to thank Ellen. I want to thank Michael. I want to thank Patricia. The people at LTV are great, and you love the stuff that's coming out of here. Gene Shafarov, one of the royalties of Our Lady of the Hamptons. We love her. She's got her show on philanthropy, successful philanthropy here, and a lot of other great shows. Make sure you tune into LTV, and you can find it on the internet, and you can find it on YouTube, but it's got great stuff. LTV, coming to you out of the Hamptons. So thanks for joining us.